didn't and we expired on February. So I said, let me go back to January 2016, because that's as far as it gave me 5. I said, okay, let me call and cancel this, I'm not ready for that. And now I'm not getting any
Card?
Is that where or something? What is it?
I'm the arch agent.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you doing realtor safety and win-win negotiations?
I am.
You doing both? Okay. Oh, this is what I was telling you before.
Wonderful.
So, my husband was telling me some business cleaning stuff out, and he found $50 gift card to Macy's. He found a $300 gift card to Target. A gift card long. Yeah. And what's funny is, so, I need some paint, so I went to Macy's, trying to find some deals, and you get some funny points and everything. I got this gift card. But,
You guys excited to get started?
Yeah.
I am.
We have a big excited group here today. Well, it is 9 o'clock in the morning, so we have an appointment at 9 o'clock, and I'd like to begin. My name is Bill Kennedy. I'm with the Greenville, South Carolina Market Center, so about an hour and a half up the road. I have a small team up there, the Blue Line team. We're excited to work with any of your referrals, so if you have a buyer or a seller that's going to the Greenville area, I am bold, so I'm going to ask you at least 3 times today for referrals. How many of you have been in bold? Awesome. So are you going to take bold?
I just started like 3 weeks ago.
So that's a
eventually,
yes. That's awesome. Have they started Ignite yet?
Yeah, we're almost done with that. We got
Okay.
one more class.
Good. Ignite is wonderful training. Well, let me tell you a brief little bit about myself, and then we'll jump right into the class. I've been with Keller Williams since 2004. Prior to Keller Williams, I was a law enforcement officer. In 2005, we started having some issues with realtors, having people steal from them. We had some robberies in the Greenville area. And so I got with the director of the Greenville Association, Nick Sabatine. We put together a training curriculum for realtor safety. I've been teaching that ever since in various forms in the upstate. In fact, this year I took that training to the South Carolina Association of Realtors Convention, which was held in Greenville, and had a great time presenting that. In 2005 at Keller Williams, I became a trainer, mainly because I used a lot of technology, and the team leader at the time said, you know what, Bill? We want more people to use that technology, so you're going to teach a class next month. How could I say no to that? So I started teaching and found a great passion for doing training, something that I've continued on today. Now in 2007, I became an investor at the second Greenville Market Center, which is the Greenville Central Market Center. And we have been profitable since the day we opened. Very happy with that market center. I would encourage any of you, if you ever have the opportunity to invest in a Keller Williams Market Center, take that opportunity. It is almost a no-brainer. Keller Williams makes it so difficult to open a market center because they have such high standards that it's almost something that can't fail. I won't say it can't, however, they make it very difficult to fail. A little bit more about me. Prior to getting into Keller Williams, I was a police trainer. It's a little bit different environment though. I was teaching people to shoot guns and drive cars fast and things like that. That was kind of fun. However, most training that people showed up to was not voluntary. They were told by their superior officer, by the way, you have a class next week, you need to go to it. We had a lot of people in class that didn't want to be there. It's one thing I like about this class. You all chose to be here today. You're learning based. You want to learn something. And realtor safety is by far, in my book, the #1 thing that you can learn about. Because you can learn how to lead generate. You can learn how to convert leads. You can learn how to close deals and list houses and list buyers. It doesn't matter if you can't keep safe. So safety really should be one of the foundational things that people learn about. Very, very important in my book. So, before we get into this, I want to encourage you to learn 3 items, or take 3 items away from today's training. And it's an acronym. You know we love acronyms around here. Actually, I'm going to flip this. This acronym comes from John Maxwell. I can't take credit for it. And it is simply this: ACT. The A in ACT stands for an action item. I want you to find an action item from today's training that you can put into action immediately. Study after study has shown that if you take something from training and put it into action immediately, you are much more likely to utilize that training. So find something today that you can do immediately, an action item. The C stands for change. Excuse me. I want you to find a change item. That's something that you can change right now in your business or in your life. Something that you learned from today. So find that change item. And the third item is a training item. I want you to take something from today's lesson that intrigues you, something that makes you want to learn more. And I want you to find training on it. So, if you can find those 3 items today, an action item, a change item, and a training item, I think you can definitely call today successful. Would you agree? Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't understand the training one.
Something you can find more training on. Maybe you want, we're talking about realtor safety. I'm going to mention self-defense. Maybe you want more training in self-defense. So you go out and take a self-defense class. You know, something that you just want more, you want to learn more about, basically. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
So let's do that. Let's look for the action item, the change item, and the training item. Now, what do you want to get out of today's class?
More information on, I think when I think of safety, we all know we don't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
We
realtors.
don't want to die.
And realtors die going to show houses. So
Yes.
more than just the, don't go show houses to somebody you don't know.
Mhm.
That part, to me, is.
That makes sense, right? Yeah.
But common sense ain't so common anymore. But a little more detail on things that I may not have thought of
Right.
in this safety realm
Okay.
that I need to be top, they need to be top of mind.
Well, that's a great point, and we'll definitely talk about that today. Thank you. What else do you guys want to take out of today?
I can't be on the line.
Yeah.
Best practices?
Best practices for realtor safety. That is a great topic too, and we'll talk a lot about best practices.
One of our Ignite instructors, I think it's how to show homes, whichever class that was, JT Livingston here. He probably spends a good hour out of his 3-hour class talking about realtor safety.
Good. I'm very happy to hear that. Because a lot of people teach that class and they never really get into the safety aspect.
Well, he got into it far more than I was expecting.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. What else do you guys want to get out of today?
I think for me being new, what do I need to watch out for?
Yes.
What are some red flags? What are some, situational awareness things I need to be on the lookout for
Mm-hmm.
that can prevent me from getting in a bad situation from the get-go?
Absolutely. Well, we will talk about situational awareness, and we'll talk about some of those red flags today. Sounds like you guys are ready to go. You have an idea what you want to learn, and I'm going to bring as much as I can to the table for you. Now, before I get started, can you all see the board? I know it's in the corner, so I want to make sure. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure this isn't in the way. I'm not going to go any further than here, so we should be fine. Let me tell you about realtor safety. Every year, realtors get severely injured, realtors get killed. We hear about the ones that get killed because it makes national news. We know that there's agents that get kidnapped, there's agents that get murdered. It happens locally. A few years ago, we had a gunman go into the Rock Hill office, I don't know which company it was with, and shoot the broker in charge. Now, luckily, the broker in charge survived. They weren't killed. But that kind of thing happens even here in South Carolina. I have been studying this for a long time. And there's a reason that we are victimized. Why do you think that is? Why do people target us?
One, they think we have a lot of money.
Yeah, they think, of course we have a lot of money, right? We got the big bucks. We're in real estate. We sell one house and we make more than they make in a month, right? Of course, they don't know all the work that goes into it and the houses that fall through and the debt that half the realtors have out there. You're right. What else? I saw a hand over here.
We can be isolated by
Yes.
going out and showing a home.
Our job naturally isolates us, doesn't it? So if someone wants to see a vacant home, who do they call? They don't call the police, right? That'd be nice sometimes. They call realtors, and we go out and show the house to them. What's another reason that sets us up?
I got
Yes.
one. They can have anonymity. I have had enough coffee this morning, meaning that we don't always ask for a copy of a driver's license before we show a home.
Yeah.
You know, so they can do it and maybe not be identified
Yes.
easily.
Anonymity.
Anonymity. There we
Yes.
go. I need my second cup of coffee. I need my Diet Coke.
You need your let me tell you a story before we get into this. I've known Jeanette a long time. If you want some
And he
stories,
still likes me. That's good.
I still like her. I don't know what she's like as an assistant TL.
I'm
Oh,
horrible.
she's great.
Oh.
They hate me.
I've known Jeanette a long time. So one thing I used to do is go plop down in her office and we would mastermind together or just shoot the breeze, depends on the day. And I would always bring her a Diet Coke because I knew that was her favorite. Well, guess what I brought her today?
And I'm not even opening it. It's going to go on my shelf because it's my symbolic Diet Coke.
Well, then I
figure
should
it out.
have put a little message on it or
Yeah.
something.
And on that note, we are going to bring pizza in at 12 o'clock if that works for you.
Ooh.
For
So we're gonna have
12:09.
pizza too.
So we'll have pizza, and if there's something you need, if you don't eat pizza, just let me know.
Thank
Okay?
you. Oh no, I eat pizza.
Okay. Any special requests on the pizza, things you guys like? Pepperoni, cheese,
I eat it all.
Sausage.
Okay.
Sausage,
Bill, what do you like?
cheese,
What kind of pizza do you like?
meat.
I eat pepperoni.
Okay,
Like
so like
pepperoni is
pepperoni
fine.
with sausage and all, okay, awesome.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you guys.
You're fine, thank you. So realtor safety is imperative. It's something that we need to learn, something that we not only need to learn, we need to implement into our daily routine. Because if we're not safe, everything else is thrown out the door. And as we just pointed out, we're vulnerable. We're more vulnerable than most people because we go out to the vacant houses, because we meet strangers. Agents do, in my opinion, crazy things all the time that put themselves at risk. Coming from 11 years as a police officer, I see these patterns. I know what the criminals are thinking. Agents are thinking one thing many times. What's that?
Sell the
Sell.
house.
I want to get paid, right? Yes! Somebody called me. I got an appointment. I'm going to show a house. They said they're cash buyer. Ooh! You know?
3-week closing.
Right. 3-week closing. I'm getting my check. Cash buyer. So, there's a lot of realtors, and I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. Please don't tell me if you are this. But I know there's realtors in this office, just like every office. If they get a call from somebody and they say, yeah, listen, I just got an inheritance. I got about $200,000. There's a house down the street that I've really been interested in. It's listed at 186. Can you show it to me today? There's a lot of agents that would jump on that and they wouldn't ask questions. And you know that. So, you may not know that. You're brand new. Trust me, agents will do that. All right? So, let's jump into the material. Does everyone have a book? Okay. By the way, are there any guests here who aren't with Keller? I'm just curious. Because I love it when guests show up to this class. This is the ultimate real estate class for all offices, in my opinion.
I think there's one coming late.
I heard there's one coming, yes. So that'll be awesome. We'll have our one guest. So turn to page 2 in your book. What will you take away from this? By the end of this course, you should be able to implement recommended safety protocol. We're going to give you safety protocol. You should be able to use it in your business. Number 2, you're going to be able to recognize basic safety procedures during appointments, showings, and open houses. Those are some of those tactics. I like to call them tactics, probably because of my background. Red flags you'd asked about. We're going to talk about some of that stuff. Number 3, identify red flags and react appropriately. Not only how to identify them, but what are we going to do when they happen? Number 4, demonstrate safety practices while inside your office. Every once in a while, you may have to work here at night, on the weekends, when other people aren't here. Let's talk about how to do it safely. Number 5, recognize sexual harassment behaviors and understand the reporting process. And number 6, become involved with the creation and evolution of your market center's safety policies. Do you have a safety committee on your ALC?
I don't know. I don't know if they're active.
Be interesting, when Jeanette comes back in here, I'm going to ask her.
All I know about is the red folder.
The red folder. Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Number 7, because I don't like it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to trash it. Number 7, identify tools that can be used to help keep you safe. We're going to talk about some apps in here, some things you can get on your smartphone that are great tools and will help you. We're also going to talk about what's known as wearables, things that you can wear, for instance, pendants, where people can track your location through GPS. We're going to talk about some of that too in here. So it should be interesting and exciting. Go to page 3. By the way, one note I didn't tell you, I usually say this in the very beginning. Because of my background in teaching this class, I will add a lot of material to this. So you're going to hear some things about self-defense. You're going to hear some things about, I'm actually going to talk about pepper spray, weapons. You know, people hear weapons, they think gun automatically. Pepper spray, stun guns, tasers. I'll talk about firearms briefly. This isn't a gun class. I'll talk about all that stuff in there. And I'll throw in some statistics that are not in here that you may find interesting and possibly a little scary. So page number 3. Look at safety by chance. Will someone read the first 2 lines there?
Do you ever feel as if you're taking a chance with your safety? Think about the tasks you perform daily, both inside and outside of the office. Which job duties make you feel the most vulnerable?
So we're going to do this as a group. Inside the office, what job duties make you feel vulnerable inside the office?
Coming in late.
Coming in late. So after hours?
Yeah.
Okay. Coming in late.
Weekends too.
Yeah, weekends, same thing. What else makes you feel vulnerable?
Parking lot.
Parking lot, yes. How's the lighting in your parking lot? Y'all been here at night?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not
I would
good.
say it might be non-existent.
Yeah.
Something to
More
look
than
at.
that, is anyone actually looking at who's in the parking lot before they get out of their car?
Are you observant? What about outside the office? What makes you feel vulnerable outside the office?
Showings.
Yeah, showings. Probably the number 1 most vulnerable activity. What else?
Not only showings, but also like FISBO previews. If you're going somewhere and nobody knows
Mhm.
that you're going, if it's still vacant, and it could still be you and one other person there, not necessarily a family or.
So an appointment where you're meeting anyone, whether
Right.
it's a buyer or seller.
Right.
Good
Or
point.
even just previewing empty homes, like I think you were saying, even if you don't anticipate people to be there. I know I've previewed a home, talked to an agent, had an appointment, and then got there and a lady was packing, had no idea I
Yep.
was coming.
I've shown 2 houses in 16 years where there were squatters. People had
Oh,
broken
yeah.
into the house and were squatting there.
And we've actually had some of those here. The broker in charge had a listing
Mhm.
that had squatters.
So there's a lot of safety risks out there, aren't there? So keep these concerns in mind as we go through. We're going to start talking about safety, and we're going to talk about each of those. Turn to page 4. Be smart, be safe. Will someone please read the definition of safety? They even give a nice pronunciation. Isn't that kind of them? Will someone read that?
Relative freedom from danger, risk, or threat of harm, injury, or loss to personnel and/or property, whether caused deliberately or by accident.
Thank you very much. So what stands out in that definition? What stands out to you?
Talking about like your belongings, if not just yourself.
Yep, it's our property, it's our person. Does it say, what's that?
I was gonna say, it doesn't matter if it's deliberate or by accident it happens, so that's why we have to be so aware of it.
Exactly. And does it say complete freedom from danger? Does it say that?
Relative.
It says relative. Are we ever truly safe? No. One thing that I used to teach police recruits when we would drive around in the patrol car, I'd say, listen, we're never completely safe. If we're driving in our car on the interstate, somebody could hit us. Somebody could shoot at us. Now, I'm not going to say that as far as realtors, we're not, you're not targets driving around. But at the same time, anything could happen. Somebody could walk through this door right now with a knife. Is it probable? Absolutely not. Yeah, or a gun. I told you, Rock Hill came in with a gun, shot the broker in charge. They were mad over an earnest money dispute. So what I like to teach people is to always be cautious. I like paranoia, just not much of it. Okay, I don't want you to walk out of here paranoid, constantly looking everywhere. But I do want you to have that little tiny bit of paranoia in you. And that little tiny bit of paranoia is going to teach you to always question what's going on. That's what kept me safe for 11 years as a cop, questioning what's going on. It's what keeps me safe as a realtor, because I'm never going to assume, I'm going to question as I go through my day. Does that make sense? So let's question things. So according to a 2015 study done by the National Association of Realtors, 4 in 10 real estate professionals have experienced a situation in which they feared for their own safety. 4 in 10. So if you poll this office, you will probably find agents who have been in situations where they feared for their own safety. 40% of them, according to NAR. Our industry requires an enormous amount of interaction with people we don't know. This means we have to be extra mindful of our surroundings and make sure that we have protocols in place to protect ourselves. It's up to you to be alert to potential dangers, trust your instincts, and put safety first. Be alert to potential dangers, trust your instincts, that's your gut, and put safety first. Will someone please read the truth at the bottom of this page?
Your life is more important than a transaction.
Thank you. Your life is more important than a transaction. Again, realtors put transactions ahead of their thinking sometimes. We do that in a lot of things. It's not just with our safety. We put transactions ahead of our kids sometimes. We put transactions ahead of our life sometimes because we want that paycheck. And that's natural because sometimes we need that paycheck. I'm not going to belittle that. Sometimes it's the only paycheck we have and we really need it. We just have to remember that there are some things that are more important than focusing on the paycheck. Look at the line in italics right in the middle, and I want you to highlight it, put a star next to it, underline it, whatever you can. Safety is not a reaction to situations, it is a what? Mindset. Have you noticed, now how many of you in here have taken a Keller Williams course before? Probably everyone, right? What's the one thing that you talk about in every single Keller Williams course? I don't care what it is. Mindset, right? Every single Keller Williams course. Whether we're talking about the one thing, it's all about mindset. When I teach about the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the first thing I tell people to write in the front of that book is the word mindset, because that's what it is. Well, guess what? When we're talking about safety, safety is a mindset. You have to have a safe mindset. The bottom line, though, is what it says at the bottom of the page. Your safety is worth more than any transaction. Go to page 5. This is just a little history with Keller Williams. At the 2017 Keller Williams Family Reunion, the International Associate Leadership Council, which is the IALC, passed a motion that requires the following. Now I need 4 volunteers. Okay, you read the first bullet point, you read the second bullet point, you read the third bullet point, fourth, you read the fourth bullet point. Go ahead. Number 1.
Each market center will have a safety committee that promotes training, programs, and other initiatives to implement safety standards and best practices for Keller Williams offices and for agents conducting business in the field.
Thank you. Second bullet point.
This committee will be composed of agents from within your market center that have a strong passion and desire for agent safety in the marketplace.
Thank you. Third bullet point.
The committee chair must be an associate leadership committee. that number.
Thank you. And the fourth one.
A safety class will be offered in each market center at least annually.
Awesome, thank you. So this is the safety class. It is being offered in your market center. Thanks to your leadership, they brought us here, and I'm happy to teach it. Hopefully they'll have it once or twice every year. It's required once a year. More than that, we teach it quarterly at my office, and I think it's important. Yes?
I have a question that came to mind when we read the definition of safety,
Yep.
whether caused deliberately or by accident. I'm clumsy by nature, and I'm also a super new agent. I have one listing and one buyer client. My buyer client's looking at $100,000 duplexes.
Right.
So we've been in some, not great condition homes.
Yeah.
I measured the square footage of my listing and outside crawling through the bushes, and so it didn't occur to me until I read that definition that safety is also my responsibility to not be clumsy, fall down someone's stairs, step through like a hole in the ground. Did we talk about that at all, or is that just like?
Well, I can't teach you how to not be clumsy. That's the bad part. However, you're absolutely right in what you said before, that safety is your responsibility. Nobody else can take responsibility for your safety, only you can. And we all have to know that. In this culture, a lot of times people rely on other people for things. However, when it comes to safety, we have to rely on ourselves. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that say, well, I'm okay because the police will protect me. No, they won't. I'm just saying, unless there's an officer standing next to the house when you're showing it, the police are not going to protect you because they don't know. There's only so many, in the entire Columbia PD, there's probably only 10 to 12 on the road in Columbia. Now, I'm not talking about the sheriff's office. Sheriff's office is even more diluted. You probably have maybe 40 to 50 on the road in the entire county. So it's definitely our own responsibility.
Well, when it says be aware of your surroundings, that's, or pretty much that's basic.
Right.
It's not just who's there when you get out of the car, it's when you get to the property, what are you looking at, where you gotta climb up. I'm a klutz too, I'm with you, but it's knowing what you have to crawl across, walk across, and what you shouldn't have to walk or crawl across because it's not worth it for that sale.
Exactly.
You
And
know,
it's all about being alert.
Yeah.
So let's look at the bottom of page 5. There are some recommendations that the IALC came up with for every market center. The first recommendation is the creation of a market center safety policy. Do you have a market center safety policy?
Red folder?
If you aren't all saying yes, then there's a problem, because that means that there either isn't one or it's not well known. So, I'll talk to Jeanette. Second thing, educate Keller Williams agents with safety policies and procedures on a quarterly basis. So you should have the safety class at least once, however you need to educate on the safety policy on a quarterly basis. We do that every time we teach a scripts class for our opportunity time, for phone time, whatever you guys call it. Ours is opportunity time.
Same thing.
Okay, we go over the safety class then, and we do it quarterly. We do this class quarterly. Third thing, perform an annual security audit of the office to find ways to improve safety. This would be internal and external physical plant of the office. So the lights, you said the lights stink. That's something that the safety committee would do. Come here at night, walk around, see how easy it is to get in the office when it's locked up, see what it's like inside. Are there internal lights left on when it's dark? Things like that. They're going to check it out. The fourth thing, set up a market center hotline for agents to call and leave messages about their appointment details. Now, you can do that. Our office set up an email system or an email address. It's just a free Gmail account that we set up that everyone in leadership and the ALC have access to log in. So what you would do is if you're going to show houses, you would just send an email to that address saying, I'm going to show a house to John Smith. I'm going to show this address, this address, this address at these times. That way there's some kind of record. In case something happens to you, they'll at least know where to start. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And the fifth item, consider installing security cameras. Do you have security cameras here? No? Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, they're not that hidden. So if you don't know, then they aren't here. So page 6 is just a little blurb about getting the most out of this experience. I told you that when I taught police officers, there were times when they didn't want to be in class. I don't think you folks fit into either one of the first two categories. That would be the prisoner or the vacationer. Hopefully you're not in here just to check Facebook and to get away from showings for a while. I think all of you are the explorer. You're going to learn as much as you can about this class, find things to implement, and really dig into it. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go into office safety. You can turn to page 8. Defining danger in the office. Now, throughout this course, we are going to have some simple little exercises. And in these exercises, we're going to work on them either individually, small group, or together. Depends on the exercise. So the first thing we're going to do is read this scenario. Who would like to read these 3 paragraphs to me? Thank you. Go ahead.
Alice Agent, what a name, was
Yes.
on her
Oh,
way.
they get better.
Was on her way home after a full day of showings when she realized that she forgot a stack of MLS printouts at the office. To avoid going in the morning before her appointment, she decided to swing by the office to grab them. She pulled up in the parking lot and parked, taking her flashlight since the parking lot was dark. It was clear no one was at the office anymore as the shades were drawn and the lights were off. She used her key to unlock the office door and fumbled around for the light switch on the wall. She only turned the hallway light on since she was just quickly grabbing something. She ran into her dark office, saw the stack of papers she was looking for, and grabbed them. She turned the hallway light off on her way back out of the office, locked the door behind her, and got back in her car.
All right. So look at the question below. What would have made this quick trip to the office a safer experience for Alice Agent? Let's just do this one together. So what do you think would have made this a safer experience for Alice? Yeah.
To just wait and go in the morning with an appointment.
Go in the morning. If there's nothing pressing about having those papers that night, just go in the morning. What else?
Sounds like she didn't use her flashlight even though she grabbed it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it, does she? She's fumbling around in the dark. So maybe use the tool you have. That would help.
Not even the flashlight, she didn't put any lights on.
She didn't turn any lights on. She turned on the hallway. So it'd be like turning the light on out there to get something in here. It just doesn't work. I mean, it's very dark. So if somebody had broken into the office and they were hiding in her office, they would know it, or she wouldn't know it. What else?
She didn't tell anyone where she was going.
Yeah, nobody knew, did they? So if something had happened to her, they have no clue where she is. What else? Anything
She
else?
does not paying attention to anything around her. If she's fumbling around for light switches and putting her key in the door, she probably has no idea what's even
She's
around.
not looking around, is she? Doesn't sound like it. Well, what about the door? It says she unlocked the office door. It doesn't say she locked it behind her. Some of us have doors that lock behind us. Some of us don't. So if she doesn't, she needs to do that.
She didn't because obviously when she left, she locked the door behind her.
Yeah, she
So
locked it.
it wasn't locked when she was inside, apparently.
So Alice was not thinking very smartly or very safely, was she? These are some examples of things to think about, things that you could do differently. She could have changed her whole approach and been perfectly safe. Now, did anything happen to her? No, she left, right? However, that's why most agents get complacent, because nothing ever does happen. And we go day by day without any problems. We don't think about the problems because we're not forced to think about them. So turn to page 9, communication. Communication is possibly the most essential thing when it comes to your safety. Communicating with people at home, communicating with people at the office, even communicating with your prospects and your clients. Whether you're working in the office after hours or just need to swing by to grab something, it's worth letting someone know that you're going to be there. So, step 1, let someone know you're working late and when you expect to leave. And then step 2, let the person know that you actually left. Now, let's stop for a minute and talk about calling the police. You see, a lot of people don't want to bother the police. That's what they say. I don't want to bother the police. I can almost imagine the air quotes. I don't want to bother the police because, well, I don't know if this is really an emergency or not. Let's say that, okay, what's your name?
Tamika.
Tamika? Okay, Tamika goes to the office and she calls me and says, Bill, I'm up in the office. Getting there right now. Great. And then she never tells me that she leaves. Well, I can sit around waiting, right? Wait a long time. Maybe try to call her back. What if she doesn't answer? Oh, she must be busy. Yeah. Call her back 30 minutes later, she still doesn't answer. Oh, maybe her phone died. What am I doing?
Avoiding.
I'm making excuses and procrastinating, and I'm avoiding a real possibility that there's a problem, right? Now, could any of those things have happened? Tamika's phone could have died. What should she have told me in the first place, though? Well, that too, but she should have said, I'm going to be at the office, and I'm going to leave in...
10
If
minutes.
she says, I'm going to leave in 3 hours, I'm not going to be worried in 30 minutes, am I? If she tells me I'm going to leave in 15 minutes, and I don't hear from her 20 minutes later, and then I call and don't get her, what do I need to do? Not that, unless I live right next door.
Oh, call the police.
Call the police. Call the police. Listen, the police would much rather show up on something that ends up being nothing than to take a murder report the next day. Okay? They would much rather drive by and catch something in progress than try to find a missing person the next day. And trust me, if it turns out to be nothing, they're happy. That means no paperwork. Okay? If I'm the cop and I drive up and Tamika's out in the, she's just coming out of the door, and I say, are you Tamika? Of course, she's like, why is a police officer asking me that? Yes? I say, oh, well, Bill Kennedy had just called. He said that you hadn't got, oh my goodness, my phone died. I can't believe that. Okay, well, have a good night. See? That took all of, what, 20 seconds? They would much rather do that. So I want you to get the drunk monkey off your shoulder. Drunk monkey's from bold, right? Drunk monkey is something that tells you can't do something. You can call the police. You can bother them. That's what they're there for, okay? We don't call them for stupid stuff. This is not stupid stuff. This is potentially important stuff. Can I get your buy-in on that?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, look at the middle section of page 9. Who are some potential people that you could call or text to keep in communication with?
Co-worker or another agent?
Co-workers, other agents, what else?
Friend.
Friends, do you have any of those? Everyone, you need to have at least one friend. If you don't have a friend, go make one. For safety purposes, okay? And what was the last one?
Family member.
Family member. Now you might like your family members or you might like your friends more. It doesn't matter. I'm going to let you decide that. But you could contact anyone, right? You could contact a fellow agent. You could contact a team leader. Let Jeanette know, hey, I'm going to be in the office. I just wanted to let someone know. She would be perfectly happy to get that text from you, I bet you. I'm going to put her on the spot until she comes back in here. To give agents a safety net, market centers should consider setting up a safety hotline their agents can call or text with the core details of their appointments, including the time, place, and client information. As I said, you can also set up an email account for that. It's really easy to send an email from your phone. A simple call or text is all that it takes to have peace of mind. That's it. That's all you need. So, will someone read the truth for me?
If no one knows where you are, no one will know where to look for you.
That is one of the most frustrating things in law enforcement. So, can I pick on you again, Tamika?
Sure.
Okay, because I know your name. That's easy. So, we get a call. I'm meaning the police now. I say we a lot. It's habit. I've been out for 11 years and I still say that. So, we get a call the next day. Yes, I need to report a missing person. Okay. Who is it? Her name's Tamika. Okay. And where was she last seen? Well, she was at home yesterday, around 3. And then she left. Okay, and where was she going? Well, I think she was going to go show houses. All right, and what houses was she going to show? Well, I don't know. And who is she going to be with? Don't know. Can you tell me what she's driving? Well, yeah, she's driving this. Okay, that gives me one thing to go on. And when was she supposed to be back? Well, I don't know. Great. Be happy to help. Now, will the police do what they can? Of course, they will start tracing cell phones. They'll put out be on the lookout for the license plate, the vehicle information. They'll do everything they can, but does that really give them a place to start? I don't know about you, but I see Columbia and Lexington County as a big area, right? Am I wrong? No, I went to the police academy. I felt lost. I had just moved to South Carolina and I had to go to Blythewood to go to the academy. And every time I would drive into downtown Columbia, I'd be like, wow, there's so much here. Now I'm from Denver, Colorado, but being in a new place, it's strange. So guys, it's a big area. We need to have some place to start. The police need some place to start. Your fellow realtors need some place to start. If nobody knows where you are, they won't know where to look for you. Building security, page 10. Few things to consider when staying safe inside your market center. Will someone read the first bullet point, please?
Never open the office door to anyone you don't know after hours. Call the police if someone appears to have an emergency situation.
One of the biggest ruses that is used to get people to open doors is to feign an emergency. And oftentimes it will be a female doing it, because we trust women more. At least most of us do. Ladies, you know you don't trust women at all, but guys, we fall for it every time, right? Oh, I need help. Yes, I'll be there. I'm going to be Superman now. Doesn't work. If they are knocking on the door, they say, my car just broke down, can you help me? I'll call 911. I'll have somebody on the way. What you may see if they can hear you say that is they may run away because they don't want 911 called. Make sure to help them. All right, someone read the second bullet point.
Place bells or a ringer on main doors in the office as a means of notification when someone walks in.
So do you have any kind of notification if someone walks in your main door? Does it ding
There's
anywhere?
L's up there.
Okay, good. What's your lady at the front desk? What's her name?
Gabby.
Gabby. She's so awesome.
She is.
That's just a total side note. When I walked in, now let me tell you, when I walk into Keller Williams' offices and I'm teaching, I usually get there at 8 a.m. Nobody's there, ever. She was there. And I walked in and she had that bright smile on her face, and it was just like, you know, gave me energy. She was like, good morning, and boom, I knew I was going to have a good day. So, she's a keeper.
She's amazing, and isn't she closing on her house tonight?
Yes. 4 o'clock.
Maybe that's why she's so happy.
No, she's always
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
she's great.
She's awesome. All right, keys and security badges. Depending on how your market center is set up, you can have security badges. Do you guys, I thought I heard someone touching numbers on the back. Beep, beep, beep. Do you have that
In the
number
back
pad?
door.
Okay, that helps. We have that on our office for after hours. We have a really funky number pad because our neighbors in the building are the DEA. And they're very particular about security. Yeah, the DEA. It's us and them. They're in the back part of the building. They're great neighbors. You never see them. They always go out their back door. You know, they never talk to us. But they did build a nice little stockade in the back that is hard to see in with, you know, protects their vehicles, and they can bring informants in and straight into their office without people watching. It's cool. I thought about setting up a camera there to record everyone and then selling the information, but thought that might be illegal and get me in trouble. But yeah, the DEA is in our office. So you can have security badges, they're nice. Make sure that keys are accounted for if you actually have physical keys. Most people don't have keys anymore, except to maybe their personal offices. But I'm glad you at least have that system set up. Page 11, security cameras. Security cameras are not going to prevent any crime from happening, if it's going to happen. However, they can be two things. They can be a deterrent, and they can be a means of getting information. If a crime does occur, you can get information from the cameras, and then use that to help investigate the crime. You can monitor activity if you have cameras and somebody can access the cameras. That's always nice. And, let's see, I already talked about gathering evidence. So, I think it's a good idea to put cameras in. We have them in our office. When we moved to our new building 3 years ago, we put them in. And hopefully they'll install some here. They're nice to have. as I said, for those reasons. Page 12. By the way, if you haven't noticed, this first part goes pretty quick. Lighting. So interior lighting or indoor lighting can help serve as a protective measure. It can make the office environment a safe environment. Let me tell you something about criminals, and I'm going to repeat part of this later. Most people who are criminally minded are cowards. They're cowards. They don't want witnesses. They don't want to get caught. They're doing the crime for some reason. There's a lot of reasons behind why people do crimes. We don't have time to get into all that. But at their core, most of them are cowards. We'll talk about fighting back. If you fight back against an attacker, 80% of the time you'll get away. Because they're cowards. They don't want someone who fights back. Lighting helps deter crime because they don't like bright lights. It's kind of like a cockroach. You know, you turn on the light, they go. Same thing with criminals, a lot of times. Overhead lighting. So appropriate overhead lighting is important. You obviously have that during the day. When at night, you